Most people think they make decisions as individuals, but they don't. Just like flocks of birds or shoals of fish, humans subconsciously synchronize to the dominant signal in the environment. This is called collective intelligence, and physicists call it emergence. Neuroscience calls it entrainment, but here's the truth. You can influence another person's mind without force, without manipulation, or without even speaking. Not because you overpower them, but because your frequency becomes the dominant field. And most people live reacting to circumstances. They're not creating reality. The reality is being created by others. But here's the shift. You're either entrained by someone else's vibration, or you become the vibration they entrain to. And today, I'm gonna show you not only how to ethically and morally exert your will upon others, but even more importantly, how to protect yourself from the forces around you. Let's go. So in nature, a shoal of fish, which is one of those big bundles of sometimes hundreds of thousands of individual fish, it moves in perfect unity as if it shares one mind. And here's the interesting thing. There's no head fish, there's no communication, there's no planning. Yet every single fish turns simultaneously and swims in perfect harmony with all the other fish. And biologists discovered something shocking. The shoal always follows the fish with the strongest and clearest directional impulse in the group. It's not the biggest fish, it's not the fastest fish, but the one fish with the strongest internal intention acts, and the whole shoal locks onto it. The fish with the clearest intention literally becomes the superintelligence for the entire group. And this is the same with flocks of birds, swarms of bees, crowds of people, even large-scale social movements. There is a collective superintelligence that emerges when many units synchronize to a dominant signal. So what does this mean for you? Well, humans have the capacity to synchronize and influence each other in exactly the same way that fish do. We synchronize based on the strength of our vibration, which is a byproduct of our intention, our emotions, and our thoughts. In other words, you're like a broadcast tower, and your signal becomes stronger the more you're focused and intentional about whatever it is that you're thinking and feeling and what you're wanting to create. Now, the challenge is that most people have a really weak signal. You know, one moment we're broadcasting that we want more money. The next moment we're scrolling through social media. The next moment we're worried that we don't have enough time or that we're not good enough. And so for the most part, human beings are really weak in terms of our ability to focus our intention and attention on something. So most of us are really living scattered lives. And I know you feel that. I feel that too. Even being in this work, there's a tremendous opportunity for me to hone and focus my attention. And it's important. If you go back to the #1 best-selling book on success and wealth in the history of the world, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, Hill talks about the importance of this focus and the ability to influence others when he talks about having a burning desire. So he talks about a burning desire at great length. He says, you got to find something that you're so passionate about that you can't stop thinking about it, that you obsess about it, that you can't let go of it. Because that's how you increase your signal and strengthen your broadcast. But what most of us can't let go of is fear. What most of us can't let go of is scarcity. And so that becomes the predominant broadcast. And not only are we unintentional, we're attracting and creating circumstances and situations that will make that fear a reality. But when you're able to raise your signal and focus it, your broadcast is actually received by other people. And they unconsciously start to align their actions and their behaviors to line up with your intended outcome, just like the shoal does. There was an experiment with multiple grandfather clocks all swinging in a room together, but all swinging out of sync. They were all doing their own thing. And within hours, they all synchronize. Hours later, what happens? How did they get into perfect unison? Well, the clock with the strongest, most consistent pendulum pulls every other clock into its rhythm. Now, I might be outdating myself. I'm not talking about digital clocks, by the way. I'm talking about those big grandfather clocks. But this is an incredible example of entrainment, right? The weak rhythm collapses into the strong ones, and human beings do exactly the same thing. So if your frequency is scattered, you get pulled into someone else's agenda. If your frequency is coherent, people start assisting you unconsciously. So I just want you to check in with yourself right now. Do you think that your predominant vibration and frequency is scattered or unscattered? Do you find yourself in your head a lot and not being present to what's actually going on, jumping from topic to topic to topic? well, then there's an opportunity for you to improve this, because odds are you're being influenced by external forces and you're having very little internal influence on the things around you. But this is why when you're focused and aligned, people seem to help you magically. Like, you ever set a goal and then suddenly the right people appear to help you achieve it? It's not coincidence. It's not luck. That's what's called entanglement. When you're able to focus your thoughts and your emotions towards your intention for an extended period of time, your vibration becomes the dominant field. And people with weaker or unfocused fields synchronize to you. Think about how powerful it is. They help you without even realizing it, as your inner reality starts to bend their outer one. As you build this capacity in your nervous system, you become the field that they entrain to. You literally become the field that they lock into. And what's even more shocking, this ability to bend reality by learning how to create consistent and powerful coherence in your inner state of being, it transcends the limitations of time and space. That means you influence people no matter where they are on the planet and even outside of this present moment. So in physics, there's a phenomenon called quantum entanglement. And that's when two particles, they become connected. Doesn't matter if they're inches apart or on opposite sides of the universe. The moment you change one, the other responds in the same way instantly. And Einstein called this spooky action at a distance. And even though he had the theory for it, he thought it was impossible. And then in 2022, 3 physicists won the Nobel Prize, proving that the universe is connected by invisible fields. Not space, not time, but fields. I want you to think about it as if there was a big blanket laid out across the universe. And then 2 objects are set on it. And by making an adjustment or movement to one, immediately the other one feels it, because they're connected by this fabric and makes the same shift. Now, in a moment, I'm going to share with you a powerful technique for honing your attention so that you immediately become the field that influence others around you. But it's also important to note that you are also a fish in the shoal. That means you can be influenced when your mind is scattered. And so my question to you is, how focused is your mind? And have you noticed how many distractions are being put in front of you, from social media to pandemics to financial crisis to the always on 24/7 cycle of fear shock news? That is not by accident. The more scattered your mind is, the easier it is to entrain you to someone else's agenda. Hey, it's David. Quick announcement before we get back to your episode. Our annual event, the Powerful Living Experience, is coming up. There's a link in the show notes, or you can visit powerfullivingexperience.com. Check out the video of last year's event. We're going to be bringing together 1,000 impact-driven entrepreneurs, leaders, and game changers to spend 3 days doing what matters most. Going really, really deep on identifying the limiting beliefs and subconscious programs that are still preventing you from your full potential, and going through deep experientials and trainings and transforming them. We're also going to be getting into concepts like wealth creation, purpose, greatness, money, relationships, health. And if you're an entrepreneur, we're going to be spending about 20% of that event opening up my business playbook, the same strategies and tactics and techniques that we use to go from $0 to $30 million in an impact-driven business, while spending 90% of my time doing what I love. There's nothing like the Powerful Living Experience. Inc. named it a top 3 must-attend personal development event for entrepreneurs and leaders, and I want to see you there. We've got some discounted tickets right now, plus some additional bonuses. Again, all the information is in the link in the show notes, or you can jump on over to powerfullivingexperience.com, get registered, and I will plan on seeing you there along with 1,000 other impact-driven, incredible members of our community for 3 days that you will never forget. And now, back to your regularly scheduled episode. So we're not just talking about how to create influence over others, but developing the capacity to focus your energy and attention, because this is the way that you protect yourself from outside influence, from forces that don't share the vision and intention you have for your own life. So the question is, how do we build this powerful force field from within, which you can use to broadcast your noble desires into the world? And it's a powerful technique that I call, appropriately, shoaling. And this has become one of my recent practices. I think it's the most powerful practice that I've ever engaged in. And it works like this. You notice when you're scattered. You notice when you move into stress or anxiety or overwhelm, or feeling like you're a victim of the environment around you. You notice when your thoughts are jumping from one to the other, feeling like you're not enough, to not having enough time, to not being able to get all the things done, and not being as far along as you should be. And you notice this because what's happened here is you become scattered. And the intention here is to bring yourself back to an image of the shoal. And so if you need to get on Google Images and take a look at a picture of a shoal of fish, do that. right? We've got a couple we've shown you if you're following along on YouTube. I want you to imagine the shoal around you. So you close your eyes and you imagine yourself being connected to the shoal, connected to all the fish around you, and then expand that to acknowledging that you are connected to all things, that all of life is energy, that we are vibrational, that there's a quantum reality here, that there's a fabric that permeates everything, that you're in the grid and you're connected to all of it. You're connected to nature, you're connected to people, you're connected to time and space and the earth and the galaxy and the universe, that you are connected to this matrix. And in that, I want you to appreciate the life around you. Appreciate the nature around you. Bring to mind the beautiful people and circumstances around you. I want you to recognize your shoal, because that's what you're doing right now. You have attracted people, circumstances, situations, reality around you that is your shoal. And now what we want to do is strengthen it. But again, I want you to imagine all the fish, all the people, all the circumstances, realizing that they're synchronizing to you. Bring yourself back into the shoal. This could be a 2 or 3 minute practice. And then I want you to notice as well that things show up in the shoal that don't belong. You could call them problems. That could be certain people, certain circumstances, a crisis going on in your life. But because you're in the shoal, as long as you stay connected and feel that connection in your nervous system to the shoal, that so many things are working for your greatest growth, your greatest prosperity, your greatest evolution, that thing that came into the shoal will leave the shoal. It'll be ejected from the shoal. That's exactly what happens in nature. A fish that doesn't belong comes bumping along into a shoal that is coherent and organized, and boom, it gets ejected. It doesn't stay within the flow or the frequency of the shoal. I want you to take a moment to breathe in this feeling of connectivity, all of reality around you, feeding into you, right? Through wires, through connections, through networks. I want you to breathe in the connectivity that exists. And then I want you to breathe out the broadcast. What is it you're broadcasting out? Are you broadcasting out more financial abundance? Are you broadcasting out peace? Are you broadcasting out help? Are you broadcasting out confidence? You can do this open-eyed. You could do this closed-eyed. My practice, I did it this morning. I live on 3 acres on a lake. I walked down to my gazebo. It's on the lake. I sat there open-eyed and just looked at the lake, looked at the mountains, listened to the birds, heard the sounds, heard the gardeners next door, and realized this is my shoal. This is my reality that I've created, and I am safe in my shoal. I noticed throughout my day when I'm in my head and I'm working on something on my computer, or an email comes through of something I didn't expect, and I get disconnected from my shoal. I get scattered, and I stop. And I look out my window, and I see the reality of nature around me, and I reconnect to my shoal. I connect back into the shoal. And by the way, this is not just a visualization. 2 really important things happen when you get into this shoaling practice. Number 1, it's a neurological habit break, meaning you're removing yourself from the scattering and you're bringing yourself back into a focus. In this case, it's a focus on the shoal. And so this is the practice, because what we're doing is retraining ourselves from scatter to focus, to being able to focus your attention on the things that you desire so that you can broadcast that out to the rest of humanity and entrain people into your field. That's number 1. This is a real, actual, proven scientific practice that will benefit you in the development of your ability to focus your attention. Number 2, your brain does not know the difference between imagination and reality. All kinds of studies show this. I referenced one where in 2009 they brought in piano players to play the piano, and then they just had them come back and imagine playing the piano while their brains were under brain scan. And the same parts of the brain lit up whether they were playing the piano or imagining it. Athletes use this for fast twitch muscle fiber development. You can actually imagine training, and you start to build new muscle fiber without even working out. Well, your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. And so as you are shoaling, you are actually organizing and entraining your nervous system. You're building the antenna and the dome. So as you imagine and feel all of the information and the field flowing into you and broadcasting back out, you're actually building that capacity inside of you. You're actually doing it. You're actually building the antenna. And if you do this just a few minutes, a few times a day, man, watch how your reality starts to reorganize, and watch how your emotional experience of life is different, and watch how your capacity to focus your attention on those things that are burning desires for you develops at an extraordinary pace. So I hope you loved this episode as much as I loved sharing it with you. If you want some other tools on how to develop your attention, transform your mindset, build an even bigger vision, jump on over to davidbear.com. Check out our courses, the Mind Hack course and the Whole Human Framework course. Great courses to get you started. And also we've got our big annual event coming up, the powerfullivingexperience.com. 3 days, shoaling together with 1,000+ conscious high performers who are looking to transform their reality. Come join us at the live event. There's a link in the show notes right now. Hey, whatever inspires you, I just want you to be a part of our shoal and let us be a part of yours. If you haven't yet subscribed, whether you're listening on audio or on YouTube, leave me a comment or a question. I try to read all of them. And most importantly, if you want to bring more people into your field, if there's somebody that comes to mind that you think needs to hear this episode, share the episode with them. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next episode.